Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm Isabeau, which most of you know. I'm gonna close this shade because I look like a ghost. Unless I could just, nope. That's too much light. I've never had an issue with too much light. Okay. It's still pretty ghostly, but whatever. Yeah, I'm Isabeau, and if you're here, you're just on my YouTube channel, which you should kind of know who I am already, just because you've arrived here, unless somehow the algorithm shot you my way. And today I'm just gonna update you on what life has been like since retiring from teaching. For those of you who don't know, I was a high school teacher for 11 years or so, and then strategized to retire, not because I hate teaching or, yeah, it's nothing like that. It had everything to do with wanting to give myself some time and space to do this music thing more intentionally. But yeah, I retired, and this conversation is going to be about what that's been like, the really awesome parts of it, and then the weird, uncomfortable, difficult parts about it. So feel free to ask questions as I go, and I'll do my best to kind of track with them, and if I feel like it might disrupt a thought, I'll come back to it. And yeah, it can be about anything. I'll discern whether I want to answer it. I'm also going to figure out this lighting. I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was gonna be great because it's just daylight, but I look like a ghost. Maybe if I sit, I'll just sit further. Just sit further away. 1 second. Let's bring it. That looks more real. I can see all my flaws. Cool. Yeah, let's see. I just want to get familiar with this top chat, such a cancel. I just want to make sure that I can see the questions. Oh, I just have to touch the screen. Hi Vlad, hi Jorge. Yeah, hopefully those will stay up. If I'm looking to the side, it's because I'm wanting to somewhat track with what folks are saying. And let's see. I wrote little notes to myself as usual, just to make sure I don't ramble too much. It's gonna happen, but I'm gonna try to minimize it. Yeah, cool. So, quick recap. This past August, the end of August, usually for the last decade plus, the end of August, has usually meant that I am going back to the school, setting up my classroom, clearing out old stuff, rebuilding curriculum, getting like your class list and trying to get familiar with student names and who they are and make those connections before they enter the room. You're doing professional development, and you're also closing out any kind of work that you've been doing over the summer. So I know there are a lot of teachers who work other jobs, obviously have families, or have other, like they travel or spend time doing a craft that maybe doesn't flesh itself out in their teaching career. And they'll spend the summer just fully immersed in that, or fully immersed in napping. And it is an odd switch. Anyone who has taught for any amount of time, you can back me up in this, that once August hits, or whatever your like school schedule is, if August is the month that you go back to school as a teacher, it's a weird anxiety that sets in. And it's not purely, I hate my job, because I loved being a teacher. Not every part about being a teacher, but I loved being a teacher, and I love my students. However, when you know that your life and schedule and time is about to be highly restricted, you start getting nervous. So like specific wake up times, like bell schedules, alarms, meetings, it's just really, the benefit of it is it's just like locked in, you know what your schedule is, and the downside is you're locked in, you know what your schedule is. There's just no flexibility at all. The sweaters don't, yeah, I like this sweater too. I'm just gonna own it. I wore it specifically because, oh, wait a minute. Kind of looks like a keyboard. I don't think that was the intent of it, but I dig it. I like the sweater. Yeah, so that's usually what I do around August. I get anxious, I get excited, anxious, excited, anxious. And then at the same time, you're trying to like cram in everything. So time with family, time with Ty, time resting, time reading my own stuff that's not, doesn't have anything to do with directly to teaching and my content. And it meant that I would just try to pack in as much as I could music-wise. So live shows, collaborations, recording. Last summer I had started traveling a little bit with other artists, and it was kind of like, yeah, I could do like this weekend thing because I have to be at professional development come Monday or Tuesday morning. So I was just trying to sneak in as much as I could, and it was wonderful. And I was tired, and I think I just knew I can't sustain this. Like, something's got to give. So it's going to be my health, or it's going to be my sanity, or it's going to be my abilities as a teacher or as a friend. Like, yeah, something had to give. Good question. So, side note, those of you who are joining, thanks for sticking around. I'm going to give updates and stuff, but please ask questions, and I'll just let you interrupt me, and I'll answer your questions as we go. But yeah, I don't know where that last thought was. But the question that Chris just asked, when will you put more content on Spotify? So this week, this Wednesday, I go into the studio. So I said so 5 times already, like in 30 seconds. I'm very excited for that, and I am kind of terrified. I have a long history of awkwardness in studio settings that are not like my home makeshift studio. But there's been a lot of the work that's gone into preparing for this time that's coming up. So, Chris, to answer your question, soon, and now I'm saying soon. I used to say soon with absolute honesty, but I didn't really have a timeline about how I would start moving that music out of me and onto those platforms. But this Wednesday, I'm going in, and the plan that I've been communicating to Ryan, who is helping me produce this, and then my patrons who I've been giving updates. The plan is to make like 5 to 6 song EP, and yeah, it'll be released on Spotify and Apple Music and all the, the typical platforms. Yeah, that starts this week. Obviously, it won't be done for a bit, but it's in motion, which is huge for me because I am the punter of studio stuff. Because it's just a certain degree of stress that it creates. Okay. Yeah, interrupt me with questions as you have them, and I'm gonna try my best to stick with the updates that I'm giving. It's actually gonna be pretty hard for me because I don't even know what I was talking about beforehand. Oh, so this year, being a retired teacher, August hit, and like clockwork, I started feeling that nervousness, which is funny because I wasn't going back to school. It was like my body just knew. It's like, ugh, I'm nervous. Hey, Solo Cristo. Yes, that was like the only song I have in Spanish, in Espanol, on YouTube. Because, yeah, we'll get back to that. But I just started getting nervous, and it's kind of silly. It's just my body knew to be nervous. And then I'd have to remind myself, like, well, your summer isn't about to end. You just have like a new life that's about to set into motion. So that anxiety went from, oh, I'm gonna have to stop everything, to, oh, I'm gonna have to build my new life of sorts. Not like life ended, but it's something as simple as like my daily schedule, and like when I eat and when I sleep and what I say yes to and what I say no to, because now I can't just default to, well, I have these hours at work, or I have these people that I need to meet up with to help or go to a meeting. Like, a lot of those parameters had been ripped open, And for me, that was thrilling and just odd. Like, I wanted to show you guys, like, um, I've used planners. I've always used planners, especially with teaching. And I use my phone calendar and things like that, but I have to have like a paper form to write out, um, like 99% of the time, just to work through like a paper calendar or like a notebook. But I've just been making daily, I don't know if you can see that? Oh, not that. Daily lists. And every day it starts off H2O and stretch, coffee and words. And it's funny because I put those two and it's almost become OCD. Like I should really just reevaluate if that's what I want to start. But like hydrate, stretch your body, have some coffee, and sometimes just the meditation that comes with me making my coffee. And then words is just like read, go read. And I might have a book. I have a couple books that I'm like 3/4 of the way through all of them. But read, or it could be poetry, or it could be scripture, or it could be an article, but just read. Don't be on your phone. I don't always do that well, but I keep putting it every day. Every day. So part of my transition challenge has been to rebuild my use of time in a way that creates flexibility for music stuff, because any of you who are musicians, you know, like opportunities, some you can really count on and bank on, like studio time or rehearsals, or if you have like tours coming up, you know, specific dates. But apart from that, you're really kind of putting out the feelers and seeing who will collaborate with you and what bills you can get on. And in between, you just have to be like learning and growing and writing and preparing so that you're ready. And for me, that was just too open-ended. I was like, I could always be working, then I always feel like I'm behind. So having a calendar and daily to-do list where I'm like, this is reasonable for today. Like, these are the things I should give myself to, and these are the tasks that I could accomplish in that day. That helps me not get to, like, what is life even? I'm not doing enough, or I'm doing too little, or I slept too long, or I slept too little, all that. Okay, I'm gonna stop real quick and look at some of these questions. My favorite Bon Iver song in general. And you like the Hey Ma cover. Sweet. I'm glad you like that. My friend Anna sang with me on that one. She's wonderful. She's so funny. I feel like when we did that cover together, that collaboration at her house, one, it was crazy hot in Portland. Like, we just had this rando day where it felt like the sun was like right outside her studio. I was just sweating. I think I was wearing a jumper because I just remember I could feel like the sweat dripping all the way down my body, down my legs to my ankles, and it was very, very attractive. Anyways, we spent most of our time just talking and laughing, and then realized, oh, we got together to do this song. We should probably do it. But yeah, I was gonna say I really liked that one first, but I think it's because it was one of the singles that was released, so I got familiar with it earlier. Let me think about that one. I might need to look at the songs to figure that out. But my favorite one ever, might be Stax or Holocene. I don't know. They all make me feel quite a bit. And I think one of the many reasons, like why I like Bon Iver, some of it has to do with the memories that they're attached to, which is like any music, any artist. A lot of it is like time and proximity and where they were stitched into your memory. I also like Bon Iver because of their talent, but I also like that Justin Vernon seems to have caught on that he can create really weird feels incorrect. Like, he just kind of brought to the table what he wanted to make, and it's not going to please everyone, and some are going to think that because he works with really well-known mainstream artists and not that he's like compromised something, and maybe he has, I don't know him personally. But when people have been like, what do his lyrics even mean? One, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt that they do mean something, and you just have to decipher it and digest it and munch on it. And in the case that they are just gibberish, how wonderful, how funny that he was like, music, if I can make people feel a certain way lyrically, even if I start making up stuff and throwing it in there, then if they still consume it, that's on them. I don't know. There's just kind of like an F it mentality that I can appreciate. Where someone might have said like, you can't do that. And he was like, well, I am doing it. And as long as it's still bringing him joy, I think he should keep doing it if it's not hurting anyone. I don't think it's hurting anyone. It's probably just hurting other people's like pride because they want to achieve what he's achieved. Anyways, I don't know if that answered that. Okay. Can you imagine living outside of the Pacific Northwest? I feel like the culture vibes well with you. Josephine, yes, I can imagine living outside of the Pacific Northwest because I'm not from here. It is beautiful. You are right. Like there's a reason why I landed here, and there's a reason why I've stayed, and some of it, not all of it, has been the space, the people, the environment. The environment's also, and the climate is also why I almost left. It rains a lot, and like right now, gray sky. Oh, hello. Super gray skies. That in time you learn how to like adjust your clothing, and if you have the resources, which is such a privilege, you can stay indoors. And you don't have to be cold and soggy all the time. But when I first got here, I'm pretty sure I think I might have been experiencing like seasonal affective disorder. I almost said defective. That's incorrect. But yes, I can imagine living elsewhere. Even though I absolutely love this place, this space, it would be hard to leave. But I'm from Mali, so that's an easy one for me to imagine living there because I spent half my life there before coming up here, and all my family's there. So when I visit, it takes me a few days to adjust, and then you're home, and you've acclimated, and you don't want to leave. And then life in Portland feels weird after that because you're like, oh, like the pace is different, the way people interact with each other and work and the environment is different, and yeah, it's kind of a shock going back and forth, honestly, between Hawaii and here. And then I really want to travel more. I'm one of those weirdos, because I know they exist, who longs to explore. Like I like the idea of just wandering and finding, like even on my own, new places and people, and then and at the same time I want to be planted and rooted, which you can't be both full on at the same time. It's just not how it works. My coffee's cold already. Junk. Thanks for asking questions, you all. You all? That's funny. I think I was fighting saying y'all. Thank you guys. Thank you, folks, for asking questions. So hopefully I'm answering them. Hi, Madison. Long time no see or chat. As a creative, is it easy for you to stay organized and focused even on songwriting? Because it's not for me. Ooh, yeah. I have to work extra hard to stay focused and organized. Most of the time, yes, it is a labor to stay focused. Here and there, you'll have like a word or a lyric or a concept, or sometimes it's not even manifesting in like a word or language form yet, but you just got like this, I'm touching my gut right now, this feeling. And if you're not home, or if you're not near your instrument or a space that you feel like you can jot something down or sing it to yourself, you feel an itch to go find that space because it just feels like it's going to flow really quickly. And that time doesn't have to be organized, or you don't have to be disciplined to stick with it, because it's just, you know, like, it's asking to be shared. And those are sweet. Those are not the norm, though. I would say more times than not, um, you you have a sense either that you just need to show up to write, like create that discipline, not to force anything, but if you never create that habit, I do think that it becomes difficult because then you start waiting for those magical moments to happen for songwriting. And you expect them to all fit that mold. So when it's not fitting that mold, you think that it's not something important or special, which is, I don't believe is the case. So yes, it is a challenge. And in these lists that I make daily, especially when I'm rehearsing and traveling more with the band I'm in, I have to be way more intentional about carving out time for my own, like my solo stuff, songwriting or practicing my instrument, because I don't play the guitar in the band that I'm in. So sometimes it's weird to come back after a while of learning different songs and focusing more on vocals and lyrics, and then to come back and be sitting with mine, and I haven't forgotten how to play my guitar, but you feel rusty, you know what I mean? So I have to, let me find one. Those of you who are just joining, I'm just talking about life now as a retired teacher doing full-time music and what that's looked like, and the best parts of it, the odd parts of it, the uncomfortable parts of it, all of it. But one of the things I was talking about is having to rebuild my calendar, rebuild my schedule, because now it's all different. Nothing's the same. And it's wonderful, and it's super uncomfortable, because I'm not really, I think I have skills to get good at it, but I'm not great at it yet. Let's see. Or something like, this is from August. H2O and stretch, coffee and words. And it's funny, like I crossed off H2O and coffee because I did those, but I must not have stretched and read, at least not in the morning. Post to Instagram information about your EP. Start on Wednesday. Brainstorm other means of advertising the EP. Edit the arts and crafts interview. Oh yeah, thank you. 20 minutes of practice for Ila Bamba. 20 minutes of practice for the La La Las, which is Ryan, the guitarist from Ila Bamba's. I was singing his little group. And then work on my set list. So that for me was like go into your room and sit with your songs and work through your set. So the guitar, the vocals. But I have to write it down sometimes for me. I don't know. It's rewarding to be able to cross it off, but also to help focus me, because now I feel like I've gained back all this time. But if I don't parcel it out, then it's almost as if it just dissipates. And before you know it, you've watched like 5 seasons of something on Netflix, which isn't horrible. I've definitely done that. But you do that and you're like, I had all this time and I had this like urge to write and I just didn't. So yes, that's such a long-winded Waia'u answer to, yes, it's a challenge to stay focused during songwriting, and I would just encourage you to keep it up. And if you have to put it on your to-do list, and sometimes you have to give yourself a smaller goal, like go 20 minutes. And most of the time you'll spend more than 20 minutes, but even if you didn't, you gave yourself 20 minutes to start feeling that motion of getting away from everything else. Taking out your notepad, I like to write it out, or voice memos, and just putting it out there. I've written some too recently that have like evolved multiple times before I actually landed on something that felt good. And it's been actually really rewarding to stick with it long enough. I know a younger version of myself would have, like this song that I'm thinking of, I would have been so frustrated that it was changing so much that I would have interpreted that constant shifting as it's just not good. Like it's not a good idea. And I would have trashed it. And I decided, I'm like, what have I got to lose? I'm gonna stick with it. So I recorded every time I came back to these lyrics and created basically a different song around them. I would record it and listen back to it, and it wasn't like I thought it was trash, but it just wasn't good. And then 5 or 6 versions in, I'm like, oh, I think I like this one. So the one I'm at now feels more at home, and I'll stick with it. So let's see. Let's see. I'm just looking at questions. My hand, look at how big my hands look. Mellow Whale. What a cool name. This is Sophia. I listen to your covers all the time. I'm embarrassed to read the next sentence. Yeah. Do you plan on doing more Bon Iver covers? Yes. And for those of you who've been following me on YouTube, thank you. I know that at least in this last month and a half, I've been way slower on uploading specifically my music, like covers and originals to YouTube. And that is not going to be the new norm. I'm trying to find a new groove between my solo live shows, playing in the band and community that I have with that band, and I think of it as its own thing, that my YouTube community, because that's a different kind of work than like a live show, but to learn the songs and record them. So the answer is yes. I plan on recording more Bon Iver covers. And a lot of that is because it's just, not just because it maybe brings people to my page so that they can hear my whole body of work, but learning other people's songs has, I think it's helped me grow as a musician, and I just enjoy it. And it's nice in between all the work of doing this music full time. I think it's really important for me to keep things in my routine that are fun and that are enjoyable and nourishing in that way. So yes, the answer is yes. Let's see, Vanessa. Hi Vanessa. Do you think it is possible to be fully fulfilled and satisfied musically whilst balancing teaching music also? Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah. Oh, let's see. Yes. Do I think it's possibly fully, I just answered it before, fully fulfilled and satisfied musically whilst balancing teaching music? Yeah. I think it just really depends on, I mean, there's so many factors. I'm fighting right now. I want to be really concise. I realize how long-winded I am, and I do a lot of work to try to be detailed but to the point. So forgive me if this is wandering. Hopefully it can be helpful. I am still a fan of the belief and the thought that I can be and I can do both, or more, or many. So I felt like what was communicated to me growing up in the school setting, not necessarily at home, and I don't think anyone even said it explicitly, it was just like the format communicated that you grow up, you pick a career, and you do that career. That one. And then if you change it, then uh-oh, but you can do that other one. And I just think so many things, I know that so many things have changed in the world today that already make that thought process, that belief, kind of null and void. And as a teacher, we were recommending to students upon like career selection and when they're doing like future focus their sophomore year, that whereas like my parents, my grandparents it might have still been the norm, and the economy was set up and society was set up in a specific way where it was very realistic to think that you could follow one specific passion into a study and a trade and develop a career out of it, and you could have that career most likely for your entire life up until maybe you can retire. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I just think in the current shape of the world, it's shaken that. Like we let them know now as students, like you will have, I think it's like 5 to 7 different careers or jobs, just because of how fast things are are changing and evolving, and it's a global economy now, and it's not just like neighbor competing against neighbor. So I think there's some beauty to that, because what it did for me is it early on, as both a student and as a teacher, as an educator, it kind of affirmed that feeling I had in my gut, which was I think I have a skill set. That sounds like a Liam Neeson. A skill set currently, and one that can be developed, and a heart and passion and a capacity for a handful of things. Like, I can't be unrealistic and be like, I'm gonna be in the WNBA and an astronaut and a full-time teacher and a traveling musician. Like, that's just unrealistic. But I still firmly believe that you can be and pursue a handful of things. And that honestly is like a teacher and a musician, that if you do the work to balance those between your time and effort and resources, depending on the demands of either of them, if you can find sweet spots, I think it could really empower you as a teacher to also be learning and trying in the music world while you're educating students, because I just think it keeps you on your toes. You know that feeling of growing and going from the unknown to the known, so the discomfort of not being great at something right away, the anxiety of preparing for performance and getting great feedback and horrible feedback, rejection, the joy and the anxiety of all that. I just know for myself that it kept me sensitive to my students in a way that I think, had I not been also working on pursuing my music and working to kind of do this startup business on my own, it would have been easier just to be like, why can't my students just get this? Like, it's not that scary to take these risks or do this. But because I was doing it, I was coming into the classroom like, oh my gosh, I know it's weird, like we can't figure this out, but we can't stop because we have to figure it out. So we're gonna try, and we might fail, and people might give us weird feedback, but the only other choice is just to stop, and I don't want to stop. So that was long-winded. Vanessa, I think it is possible to be fully fulfilled musically. I think it depends on what you want out of music. So for me, some of the practical things of like traveling or studio time, and the way my teaching job had evolved, and the way I like to do teaching, which is just like you're in, and your students are your family, and that school is your community. Like, it was just hard I feel like I came to a crossroads, and then I had the privilege of some resources that I had been saving up to say, I'd like to give it a shot, because what I want to do is, with music, will take me away. Like, physically will take me away from this place, but also it'll take away energy. And I just cannot afford to be a shitty person, teacher to these kids. Like, they deserve to have someone there fully. And I think now I deserve to try this music thing all the way and see what happens. Yeah. I think it just really depends on what you want to do with your music. Yeah. Okay. Let's see if I can move on. Answers are thoughtful. That's a very kind way of saying long-winded, so thank you. Sabrina, how has touring with Alabama been for your growth as a musician? How has it inspired you as a solo artist? Ooh. I mean, just, it's taught me so much. I have never toured in this capacity, and obviously if I've never toured, then I've never toured with a band. So I'm doing a lot of watching and asking and participating, but just always taking things in, like interactions between managers, venues, and the artists and the sound technicians, and yeah, everything from load in to sound check to the performance to the audience to the expectations to there's just almost too much to learn all at once. But I'm trying to do my best, and I feel like we've had enough of these like fly-in shows that I could go hustle real hard and then come home for a couple days and be like, whew, is there a way I could do that better? Even just small things like well, this is not small. For any of you who perform live settings, with my solo act, I was always afraid of looking like I took myself too seriously. I don't know, I was a diva of sorts, that during sound checks, like I'm just doing like a ground monitor and like, how does it sound? Sound good? It's good balance between your voice, and usually I just put a little bit of my guitar through, but usually I'm just me and my amp, so I don't really need much. And I'll play a little bit, and I just am so nervous about being analyzed during that time, especially if the venue is not like shut, like if people are already in there, that they'll ask, they'll be like, does it sound good? I'm like, great, it sounds great, it's perfect. And usually it's not, and that's mostly on me, and often it's because I feel like the sound tech is gonna think I'm needy or doesn't know what thinks that I don't know what I'm talking about, and I'll just kind of dismiss myself. On tour with a band, both at the encouragement of my bandmates, which I'm just so grateful for, and just realizing that I need it for myself, I have to ask for more things. So when we're doing a sound check, and I need like a strong amount of like Luz's voice in my monitor and some of Julia, a little bit of Zach. Usually the guitars are near me, so I'm good with that. But when it came to my voice, I would just get nervous or embarrassed and be like, no, that's good. But then in the middle of the set, when everything's playing and everything's just like topped out, if I can't hear myself, then I get really nervous that I'm going to mess up or it doesn't sound right. And if I can't compliment the rest of my bandmates, I'm like, I don't want to ruin it. So I've had to get so much better, and I've done it a handful of times where I'll just ask for what I need. And it sounds really simple, but oh my goodness, it is such a challenge for me to say, hey, I'm gonna need more of my voice. Like in my mind, that sounds so, it's not, but my narrative is, what a diva, she wants to hear herself more. And I'm having to change that narrative and be like, in order to do my solo stuff well, or this band stuff well, I gotta hear it, and I want to hear it as it actually is and not be guessing. I'm sure that I've trained myself somehow to do well, but most of the time when I'm playing in a live setting up until this point, I really can't hear myself, and I'm just relying upon my ear and my practice. But yeah, like when we're in Tacoma mid-set, which is even bigger, like the show's going on, and I'm noticing like nothing, my voice isn't coming through the monitor and everyone else's is, and just still like dancing, shaking the shaker, and looked up across the venue and tried to be subtle because I don't want to be like turn me up, and just did like a quick motion, and he turned my voice up, my vocals up in the monitor, and it was so much better. Just realizations like, you can ask for it. Worst case, they're a jerk and they don't, and then that's on them. And then that's a whole nother thing you can deal with. But yeah, I'm advocating for myself more. Let's see. As far as inspiring my solo, I am just committed to the band. It's been so awesome. Such a learning curve. Such an honor to be a part of it. And I think one of the grandest challenges for me will be to preserve the time and space and the courage for my own work, especially since my own solo work is not as widely enjoyed, that it would be easy to be like, oh, maybe something's wrong with mine. So I keep adding it to my list, like making sure, like me even booking, talking to my patrons on Patreon and booking studio time and putting it on the calendar and working through the songs. Those are my ways of honoring what I set out to retire for in the first place, which was to make more room for music, but also to get these songs out and shared. So it is inspiring me, but it also sometimes makes me insecure about my stuff, which just tells me sometimes go sit with your stuff a little longer, you know, like carve out time and space to write and revisit my songs. It does inspire me to revisit my songs and think big about what I could do with them, and not like change them. Like I don't want to go in there big, I want to make them all sound like Ila Bamba. It's like, no, like still be you, but something I've really learned from Luz particularly, that was a hard word for me, is the playfulness in songwriting. Like it's a serious deal, like the content is very serious, but then that pressure when people are like, well, it should sound like this, or it should sound like this, or you should add this, like all that, like I'm trying just to rid myself of like the shoulds and giving myself time and space to just kind of play with it and be like, and sit with yourself long enough to take some risks that even if people are like, oh, that's weird, or that wasn't what you thought, I'm like, that's not gonna help me find it. So it has inspired my songwriting. I haven't arrived at anything where I'm like, man, it's super, super, super fantastic, but I do feel inspired, which was the question, so I answered it. Hi Jorge, I miss you guys so much. I'm excited for you to graduate. Come to hang out lunch. Jorge, I did text Javi and was talking to her about how it'd be really cool if your group could get together. So Kat and Javi and you and Crystal, and you guys should reunite and have a little lunch date. Let's see. Hey, have you ever thought about writing a blues song? I would love to. I don't think I have currently the musicality, the skills to write a superb blues song, perform it. I'm up to learning though. I'm always up to learning. Hello everyone. If you're just joining, this is just, well, not just, I keep saying just. This live stream is just all about what life has been like since retiring from teaching. And when people say, how's like the music career going, I really never know how to answer that in like a concise one sentence statement. I think the only person who can would be like Beyonce, and she probably couldn't either, but like it's not a 9 to 5. It's not like other jobs where if you do X, Y, and Z, you're guaranteed a specific promotion. It's dependent upon where you're living, your talent, your hustle, your resources, and sometimes some luck. You know what I mean? Like a certain person or community hearing your music at a specific time. So I don't know how to answer that other than, how's the music going, Isabeau? It's going well. I'm enjoying it. It's challenging me. I've said yes to opportunities and projects that scare me. And they scare me because I could fail big time. Like when I say yes to these things, or agree to specific tasks or collaborations, if I'm honest with myself, I'm not 100% confident that I can pull it off. But I do feel confident in my ability to grow and learn, and in my desire to want to do these things. So it's been so good. I've been really lucky, blessed to have had a number of opportunities for both my solo project and the band family that I'm a part of, both of them have had some really cool opportunities afforded to them that have stretched me significantly. Again, in uncomfortable ways where I'll say yes and then I'll turn around and be like, I don't even know. I don't know if I can pull this off. Which sounds like, oh, but you're taking a risk. Like, yeah, but then, like, especially with a band, you could fail very publicly. Like, very publicly. And it might be documented. So it's not even just like wow, that was a rough gig. It might be like, that was a rough gig that everyone will rewatch. But I don't think that you can grow in any other way than putting yourself in some of those worthwhile, safe, risky, uncomfortable situations. So, yeah. The music life has been going well. It has been a complete rebuild. New way of doing life and scheduling and all that. It's a crazy. Thank you, Vanessa. That's very kind of you. I've read this retired teacher and I'm freaking out. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I'm freaking out a little bit too. Not because I feel like I made the wrong decision. I'm freaking out because there's not a template for this. Like, I talk to other artists and creators and musicians. I watch and listen to others doing it who I'm not in like direct relationship with. And what you find is that there's chunks of other people's goal setting and process that you can mimic, because you're like, that aligns with what I believe and how I want to do this and my goals, and then you follow it. But you can't follow anyone else's template to like a T. Like, you can't follow it exactly, because within this specific craft, like it's if you follow someone else's template exactly, you're just becoming them. And I believe that there's enough room for all of us to be doing this well, but we don't just need like cookie cutouts of one specific type of creator artist. So at some point, you have to sit with yourself and really figure out, like, who are you? Who am I? What do I mean to do with this? Why do I mean to do it in this way? And what resources do I have to accomplish it? And then it inevitably is going to make you diverge from other people's templates. It's beautiful when you find community with people who align with most. That is such a gift. And I feel like I found a handful of people where I'm like, we could do this together for a long time. And even within those communities of people, I know that all of us as individuals have, I don't know how to articulate this, we're different. And we have different families and communities to respond to and tend to. We have our own traumas to work through. Like, we might, even if we started at the same point, same age, same resources, same level of talent or whatever the case, or training or skill, we all come from different backgrounds that have built us up and or like torn us to shreds in a certain way, where that is going to play out and it's going to influence and affect the way that we can engage our work. So yeah, no one's template can be my template, and that's cool. I like that. And also, it'd be nice sometimes just to be able to be like, grab someone else's template and be like, if I just follow this, I will be successful. But no can. That's not a thing. Hi. Thank you. Sorry if I'm responding to the comments, and some of them that are very generous and kind. I feel goofy reading them. So you can read through the comments and hopefully you'll know what I'm doing, so it doesn't just sound like I'm talking to myself. I could teach you some blues riffs. Sweet. You know what you could send me YouTube links to artists that are the best at teaching those riffs, because then I can just sit by myself in my room and not be judged while I practice. You know what I mean? I like that. That sounds nice. Thank you, Sabrina, for asking that question. Thank you. Cool. Yeah, let's see. I have a little list. This is funny because I build lists to organize my thoughts, and then usually I just don't stick to them. But maybe they've already served their purpose by me writing them. Oh, one thing that is taking... It's not directly my music, but it is so a part of it. If you've noticed, I've been doing this resale business called Guava Jelly. So I have a growing closet of clothing items, vintage and retro, mostly for females, the feminine, but that it's not all, and it will also be changing. There'll be more for those like more masculine attire, but it's called Guava Jelly, and the reason why it's so connected to my music, it's for a few reasons. The first one is it's me, and I just like the idea of recycling. Not just recycling is really important, but that's not the word I was going for. I appreciate the stories of older things, used things that can be repurposed, and just even the attitude of your style, it is what you have to craft it yourself at some point. So all the the weird comments that I may have got growing up having to thrift because of my socioeconomic status, for better, for worse, it made me who I am. And now I love to be able to take pieces and things that maybe were perceived as done, old, ripped, weird, odd, and then put them together and be like, until it's something where I'm like, I like it. It's almost how I write a song, where I'm like, this feels important, and I'm going to construct it, and I'm going to take from other people, because I have to, because I'm still learning. But at the end of the day, when I put it on, if I put it on and I'm like, then that's good. Even if it's weird to other people. Maybe other people like it, and then sometimes people are like, oh, what's with all the black, or what's with all the colors, or the patterns, or that top is kind of funky, or the pants seem to accentuate that you have a butt. And I'll be like, because I have a butt. You should know I have a butt. Anyways, that's Guava Jelly. And the other way it's connected to my music is all the money I'm making through Guava Jelly is going back towards studio time, or travel costs to go play music, or fixing instruments, or replacing gear for like recording, like this little tripod that my phone is on. So when I was advertising things for my EP, the whole idea was I'm not going to do like a crowdfunding, because I have these other ways of supporting, so like Patreon or Guava Jelly, like buy my clothes or buy my merch, and it's been fun. I like it a lot. If you want stuff for Christmas, or just because you don't celebrate Christmas but you just want weird clothes, you can go shop my closet. I talked about my calendars, my lists. Yeah, we're getting close to the time, so I feel like I should answer more of your questions. What I do want to put out there is at 2 o'clock, so in the next like 6 minutes, this live stream is going to end, and then I'm going to take a 10-minute break and set things up, also like charge my phone, and I'm going to be doing a patron-only live stream through YouTube, but the link for the live stream, it's not going to be public. It's going to be posted on Patreon for patrons. And any of my patrons, if you're on here, we're going to do a mix of updating about life on the road with Ila Bamba, preparations for my studio time, so trying to figure out like what's the final list of songs that I want to bring in, and then I'm gonna sing some songs for you. Yeah. So if you want to hear that, you gotta be a patron, which that kind of feels like the catch. It is the catch. Legal. Anderson, what do you mean by legal? Did you know that a lot of unexplained blues is one? I think I did know that. I don't think I would have stated that as a fact, just because I don't know the blues the way you seem to know the blues, but I feel like that sounds like it could be true. Anyways, so September was mostly my solo stuff. I played out at a lot of shows. October, I anticipated, it was really busy with Ila Bamba. So like the first 2 weekends, the first weekend we flew out to Reno, and then played down in San Francisco, and then the next weekend was in Philly and in Brooklyn, and then we had like about 5 days off, had some rehearsals, and then we did our Seattle, the Entre los Dos EP release was at the Doug Fir for 2 nights, and then we drove up to Tacoma, and then down to Salem, and then I said bye to the band for about 4 days while they did a couple shows in California, and then I met up with them in Mexico City on November 1st. No, I traveled all November 1st, and then arrived in Mexico City at like 4 a.m. on November 2nd. Took my first Uber, not my first Uber in Mexico. Managed to not get lost, praise be, and we played a couple festivals. It was wonderful. It was like double time learning, not just like learning the band dynamic and how to contribute in that space, in that family, but also being in a city, in a country where I'm not conversationally fluent in the language. It meant that it took a lot of energy to make sure that my posture and my facial expressions and my hands were accurately depicting what I was feeling, because I couldn't just default to spoken word. But it was amazing. I'm so grateful for it. And now obviously I'm back in Oregon with studio stuff this week, and then I play this weekend house show with a handful of very talented women. And then I think Ila Bamba has 2 local shows in the next month span, and then after that I think I have 1 more solo show on the 12th of December at Alberta Street Pub, and then Ty and I are going home to Maui for like a month. It's good, we're close, and it's starting to feel more like I have as much of a routine as you can have with the kind of work that I'm doing, and I'm grateful, because I know it can't always be like that, so I'm just trying to find grooves that I can at least return to, if that makes sense. Okay. If you have any more questions, I'll wait a moment so you can ask them, and I'll do my best to answer them. And then if you have further questions, feel free to ask them below. I will respond to them personally, or you can find me on Instagram at Bobo Barina, or on Facebook. My music page is Isabel Waia'u Walker, and then my website is bobobarina.com. And the benefit of that is it has like a calendar that I should be updated. So if you're local or you're planning to be in the Portland area, you can go there and see. And I've been putting mostly my solo stuff and some of the Ila Bamba stuff. So depending on what you're wanting to see, to listen to, you can check the calendar for that. Yeah, I feel like I've hit everything. Okay. If there aren't any more questions, I'm gonna take a sip of coffee and figure this out. Then I'm gonna log off and go get ready for my patron chat. Disclaimer, this sound is the ottoman I'm sitting on. I'm not just like farting. Listen. I hope you can hear it, because if not, I just look crazy doing this weird thing. Okay. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. We'll be doing this more often. If you have ideas for what we could talk about or do during these live streams, let me know. Some of my ideas are just really weird. I'm not really sure if they're like great for the crowd. Or if you have questions, just ask away. I'm pretty open, and things I don't want to answer, I just don't. You know, boundaries. It's all good. Thanks, guys.